Welcome to Season 5, where the fights are close and personal. In this video you'll learn what's new in Season 5, like exploding walls, mistakes to avoid, like letting Hanako cook at the bottom, and finally why you don't really need new students. As usual, I'll go through the basic first, so you can use the timestamps to navigate around. First, let's go over team position. A full PvP team has 4 strikers, and to special students, starting from left to right, we have A1 to A4 position. The A in A1 stands for attack, so A1 means position 1 in the attack formation. As you can see, Haruna is at A1 position in this team. Similarly for the defending side, we have D1 to D4 position, so when I refer to a D1 D4 defense, that means the defending team is using to tanks at D1 and D4 position. Each team has 1 or 2 DPS students. I will refer to them as backlines in this video. With that out of the way, let's go over Season 5 terrain. This season has a few walls, which split the map into the top lane and the bottom lane. There are 2 gaps in between the walls, which allow your team to snipe the defending backlines. I'll go over it in details in the pool team. 21 seconds into the battle, round to 39, the walls explode, inflicting defense debuff to surrounding students. The blue icon is the defense debuff. Note that the explosion range is small, so it didn't hit B.Toki and Yuka here. These 3 has no debuffs at all. Speaking of debuff, Season 5 doesn't have the healing debuff anymore, so you can bring medics like Serena too. Just note that healing doesn't work when your opponents can one-shot you. The difference between top and bottom is, the top lane is just barren wasteland, while the bottom lane has covers that increase your students' block chance.
Nope.
Therefore, it's better to pull to the top lane. I will go into that later in the pool team. There is no cover up here, so Iroha will have an easier time. But wait, there's more. Avoid using students like Hanako at A1 or A2, and D1 or D2 for the defending side. That's because these students take cover at the front barriers. Therefore they always get hit and die first. This only happens to students with 650 range, which includes students using AR, like Shiroko, Hanako, and Iori. If you use them at the mentioned positions, pray for a miracle, or your Iori X first. Students with longer attack range doesn't have this problem, and can be used anywhere. Moving to team building. There are many attack team options this season. Pull teams are more effective if you know your opponent's defending formation. So let's talk about standard formation first. Standard formation uses the tanks, and you want to pick tanks that counter the defending special students. Now you might be wondering, why am I using Marina against Shun and New Year Haruna? First, it's because you can't counter them all, and from my runs, I don't think it matters too much. Backlines in this season may die very early. Best tank of this season is Marina. She can counter almost every special students, well except for her own evasion, and Mashiro EX. The other tank is either Yuka if you fight against Iroha, and B.Toki or Atsuko depending on whether you need the taunt. Quick tip for Marina is you should avoid using her at the bottom. She often gets stuck here. It's okay to use this team if you're doing blind runs, but it depends on how good your tanks are. If your opponent has better RNG, you can't win. Which is why I present to you pull teams. Pull team use a student with high movement speed, like Tsurugi, to pull all the defending tanks into one lane. This allows your students to hit the defending backlines easier. You can pull to top or bottom lane, but top lane has no covers, so it's better here. Though it's not always a good idea to use pull team against a random defense. That's because Tsurugi often dies very fast, so you're fighting a 3 versus 4 battle very early, which is not funny. Once Tsurugi successfully pulled, you need a student to make use of it. Students with 650 range like Iori are the best option. You can use her with Shun and 2 tanks, or use her in 3 tanks formation. Students with 650 range can snipe most defense formation, except 3 tanks, because 650 is lower than 750, which is Mutsuki range. Fight like this are inevitable, so adjust the flank student armor accordingly, like using Iori blue armor against Shun. Also, while Shun can sometimes make use of the pull, you'll need a specific tank formation for it to work. Note that Shun actually stays behind when Tsurugi pull. No other student does that, like Ditanu Haruna here. So take it into account when defending and attacking. There are many variants of the pull teams, like this one where Yuka is sniping Shun. Plus you can combine it with Iori for double the trouble. Only works against D to D for defense, by the way. So yeah, it's a versatile formation and works more effectively when you know your opponent defense. Moving to student pick, we have the major timestamps before and after S Shiroko banner. Before her banner, the meter is similar to season 4. Iroha still can't penetrate Yuka 100 kilograms defense, and Utaha turrets have also become rusty. So if you have trust issue with these two, consider using S Ayane and S Mashiro. Why S Mashiro? I'll go into that later. After her release, S Shiroko always take up 1 special student slot, which also allows you to run 3 DPS in one team. As you can see, the battle is over in less than 30 seconds, so you can consider dropping Shun. The problem with this team is once the only tank dies, you've already won. So the second special student you use should be able to counter this tank. Iroha is too slow, so she's not a good pick anymore. Therefore pick S Ayane or Mashiro, depending on who gives you more nightmares. S Mashiro is a good middle pick because of her evasion debuff. That's because while Mashiro can one-shot Yuka, I've had run where she misses 100% against Yuka too. Therefore consider using S Mashiro if your backlines can stay alive. She has better synergy with them. Of course, that's not the only way to deal with 3 DPS team. You can also use pull teams to help Nogisa or Minori hit them. It's oddly satisfying when it works. But getting them is optional since pull team is so versatile. Only consider pulling them if you have the resources. Now, have you ever felt cringe when looking at your works 6 months ago? That's why I try to improve my video a little bit each time. Whether it's a 3-minute review or 8 minutes PvP video, the time I spent is pretty substantial. That's why I'm opening Tier 1 membership at $99 per month. This might be expensive depending on where you live, but hopefully that's enough to stop you from buying it randomly. Because what I believe is, while money can't always buy happiness, it can buy you the freedom to do what you love. And if membership is not your thing, there is also super thanks. I mean, you can leave a like or comment if you enjoy the video. Thanks for sticking around and have a good day.